Good evening and welcome to Tony's Tech Talk episode 27, recorded on July 21st, 2014. I'm Tony Hannity. I hope all of you have had a wonderful weekend. There wasn't a lot to go around this weekend, so I hope you enjoyed a couple of days off of work. If you worked, sorry you worked. But in any event, we do have a few things that we're going to talk about regarding what was announced today. Now, the first thing I do want to touch on is that I am still in the midst of reviewing this antenna here. So if you are in the process of possibly cord cutting and you're looking for a good antenna, I don't know if that's a good option or not. I'll let you know, but from what I've read so far, I mean, people have been pretty satisfied with it. I really don't know about rabbit ears to begin with. It's been many years since I've used them, but I guess if it has good quality, it's got the stations that you need, at least locally, then who should say that it's not good? So yeah, just stay tuned. Go to lazytechguys.com. We should have a review on that, and maybe you can make your own educated decision based off of mine as well too. But let's go ahead and get started with the tech news. So something came out today regarding Facebook, and they announced a new feature called Save. And if you haven't heard about this, essentially Save is a read it later kind of list, wherein that if you are on mobile, iOS, Android, or even the web on a web platform, and you see a link that somebody has sent you or that you see in the news feed, if you don't have time to read that link, but you want to read it later, maybe it's an Upworthy link, God forbid, or maybe it's a link pertaining to a TV show that you really enjoy and you want to maybe read a spoiler or interview, but like I said, you're in the elevator and you don't have time to read it all. Save will allow you to literally save that link so later on you don't have to go searching through your news feed. And at first glance, it seems like a good idea. I mean, here's an example of how Save would work on an iPhone. On your list of your favorites, you would have your friends, nearby, find apps, and then the saved icon. And within that, then you would have all the saved links. And from that, then you can click on the link, actually read the article, watch the video, and then from that list, you could share it. Or view the post directly or like it. So it's a really nice kind of save it for later feature. And for those of you that have used Instapaper or Pocket, not Paper, that's another Facebook thing, but Instapaper or Pocket, it's similar, but Instapaper and Pocket both do something that Save does not, which is saving it offline or caching it. So why is this valid? Well, like I said, if you are in an elevator situation or if you plan on reading something later on and you know that you won't have any kind of internet connectivity, let's say you are using the bus, or maybe not the bus, but the underground subway system, or you're going to be in a plane, you don't want to pay $10 to use their Wi-Fi. So Instapaper or Pocket allows you to save those links offline, has all the pictures and everything, and you can read the article. And then within the article, if there is another link, then you're out of luck because you didn't save that other link. But from what you actually did save, and on that particular page, you'll see everything that is relevant. Facebook's Save does not do that. Instead, it does kind of force you at a later date to just find a connection so you can actually look at these links. And from Facebook's standpoint, this is early days. They have some ideas in the works, how this is going to work with advertising, how it's going to impact other Facebook pages when people don't actually go to the link but they just open up in Save, and how that's going to input the analytics and all that. In my opinion, I think it's kind of a little bit too late. Like I said, Instapaper and Pocket are very well known But that might be more in the tech field. I mean, if you're watching this, you're probably a techie. I mean, you're on Google Plus, so you're probably a techie. Um, Majority of everyday Joes and Joannas, I guess if you want to call them that, they will see Facebook or Google and kind of look at the surface and maybe not realize all the other amazing apps that are out there, including Instapaper and Pocket, until their techie friend recommends it. But now that Facebook has it, like, oh, this is something I've been looking for, although it's been around for many, many years. Well, not many, many years, but you get the idea. So yeah, this is just like how Slingshot is their kind of innovative, maybe not attack to Snapchat, but it's kind of geared toward being similar to Snapchat, since Snapchat's so popular. And Facebook, they have this new team that's designing these new applications, and they're really trying to do something very, very different. And although this isn't a separate app, which is nice, that's the nice thing about it. They're not having you download a separate app. This is just a feature within the Facebook app. So you may or may not see this. And the way to actually launch the saved feature, if you didn't notice, is that you're gonna go. So let me show you here. Yeah. So this is a feed on the website. You click on the arrow in the upper right-hand corner, and then it'll say saved, then the title of the article, and then you can save it for later, like I said, for a later date. On mobile, it's going to look somewhat similar. You click on the icon, or rather the arrow in the upper right-hand corner, and you save it, or you don't want to see it. I mean, pretty much all the other options that you've seen before. Just save is the new option. So yeah, I don't know if this is something necessarily that I would use often. In fact, for me, I don't even really use these offline caches like Instapaper or Pocket. I mean, I have the premium versions of these because I got in on the ground level of them, but I just don't use them. I mean, for me, my news feeds particularly, I use Pulse, and for the most part, Pulse aggregates and grabs all the text that's important. And there have been some times, I won't lie, there have been some times where the Pulse app only shows the excerpt of the article, and they have to click on Go to Web to see the whole article. And sometimes in little bits and corners at the gym that I go to, there's no Wi-Fi and the cell phone signal is terrible, and thus I can't read the article. So this is where something like Pocket or Instapaper would work, but also where Facebook's new save feature wouldn't. So with that being said, try it out for yourself. Let me know if it's something that you're finding that is the best thing in the world, and it's one of the awesomest Facebook features that they've added in the last couple of years, or if you think it's just redundant, or you just don't need any of that whatsoever, and you're the type of person just click the link, look at it, and move on. I don't know. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Speaking of Facebook, the $2 billion acquisition of Oculus is now completely done. So if you were kind of hoping that, maybe something will fall through and Facebook won't actually own Oculus, they're going to own Oculus. Okay, so sorry, it is what it is at this point, but just be aware that when another company as big as Facebook is, when one company buys another, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to completely screw it up. I mean, look at Instagram. There's obviously some features that Facebook implemented, but for the most part, Instagram is Instagram. And when people say, "Oh, do you have a Facebook account?" No, but I have an Instagram account. But still, a Facebook account. Facebook as a company is still getting your data no matter what. It's not like, oh, we're not going to get your data because you're using pictures. Now they get more of your data. But people don't look at it that way. People just think of Instagram as Instagram. So if you can fly by that and say, okay, look, the CEO of Oculus, although maybe there were some promises back in the Kickstarter days of trying to be, grassroots and whatnot, I don't think he did. But I think some people thought he would try to continue to just be the underdog. Is now part of a multi-billion-dollar company. That's definitely better for Oculus, especially in this world where they're trying to go up against the Project Morpheus from Sony, upcoming projects from, I mean, even Google kind of got in with the Project Cardboard or whatever they're calling it. I mean, that's crazy, and that's just a cardboard cutout. And I'm sure, like, we've seen Microsoft kind of dabble in it as well too. So they need all the backing that they can get. And yes, they could probably get some more seed money and everything, but in their retrospect, it's probably better to be part of a company than just trying to continuously ask for money from different companies. So I'm still excited, and I feel the team from Oculus still has a very good vision and an end game and an end point of how they want to proceed. And having Facebook there doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be like, oh, by the way, make sure you put the like button in there, make sure you put the ads here and there and there. They're going to almost kind of let them work autonomously. So we'll see how it goes. You know, all this is speculation. I could be completely off. I could be completely wrong. And 6 months from now, they call it Facebook Rift, and then I would say, well, shoot, that sucks. So I was kind of just scrolling through here, trying to figure out what, you know, other topics that we can talk about here, and I've been accused that I do too much mobile stuff, so I'm really trying not to, but tonight kind of is a little mobile-y, especially with the news. Now tomorrow we're going to be doing the LTG show where we'll talk more about the Q2 earnings reports from Apple, Google, well, not Google, but Apple, Microsoft, and there's a third one. I remember there was a third one. I can't for the life of me remember who the third one is. But Apple, Microsoft, and Microsoft is definitely the big one. It was Satya Nadella getting on the horn and saying, "Hey, look, yeah, I kind of told you all about the layoffs." But we'll see how that all pans out. I do want to touch on this though. If you heard back at Google I/O, they did mention that there would be a number of partners to Android Wear, and one of those partners was actually HTC, and HTC recently had, you know, a big announcement for the HTC One M8, which was just after the initial launch of Google, or rather Android Wear, back at South by Southwest. So we've all been kind of wondering, when is HTC going to announce this watch? I mean, are they going to announce it with the HTC One M8? Obviously not. Are they going to announce it at Google I/O? Obviously not. When are they going to announce it? We still don't have a definitive answer, but what we do have is possibly a screenshot of the watch. So over at Fandroid, Chris Chavez has shown some screenshots that he got over from HTC Source, wherein that the watch is on this developer's desk, right? And it's in this, I don't know how to explain it, but it has that regular kind of square design. It's not very enticing. Like, I look at it, and to me, at first glance, it's like, oh, that's kind of boring. I mean, HTC, I mean, you guys, you have such good designers. I mean, I think they actually fired one of their, not fired, but I think one of their main designers kind of up and left, which is sad. But they have a huge team of designers that are very creative, and they think outside the box, and they create amazing interfaces like BlinkFeed, and you know, the actual phone, the HTC One M8, is gorgeous, to say the least. It's probably the best, if not the only, like true metal phone that's out there at the moment, and it's by far one of the best Android devices out there. But yeah, I mean, we don't know much about this, but it looks to be fairly thin. It looks, I mean, obviously it's going to have a touchscreen, and it's, as they might call it, kind of modern looking, but I don't know. I'm a little skeptical, but at the same time I was kind of skeptical about the LG G Watch, or as Ron Richard would say, the Gwatch, and I see a lot of people sporting it, and when I say a lot, I mean like 4, but from except for Mr. Mike Elgin over at TWIP, everyone that has the LG device seems to be very, very happy with it, although it is somewhat rudimentary and very basic of a smartwatch. You know, actually using it's like, oh, you know, they get past that. So I don't know, maybe HTC is kind of hoping they get past that, because the thing is, if you remember, Google said, okay, here is Android Wear, and by the way, all you OEMs, you can't change anything with the interface. You can't. Nope, don't do that. You can put watch faces, but in terms of the interface itself, the overall UI, the UX, everything, how you interact with the watch, that's all Google. It is. You can't put Blink Feed on there. You can't put TouchWiz. Don't try it. Don't mess with it. Enjoy. Some people were not too happy with Google's decision to do that, and some people were very happy with that because, it's like, okay, now all these companies have to deal with isn't so much the overall user interface with it. Let's say like Google deal with that. What they have to deal with is the overall design of the physical hardware. And to a certain degree, that's a better experience. I mean, if you look at the Nexus 5 and the Nexus 4 from LG, both of which have very similar, experiences from Google. I mean, it is the true Google Nexus experience, as true can be. But that allowed LG to focus more on the hardware. Some people would argue that the hardware could be better, but from what it was at the time when they were launched, they were definitely some of the best of its time. So, yeah, going back to this whole HTC smartwatch, I'm still not sure how it's all going to pan out with that, but maybe we'll find out before the end of the summer. So, also, if you are a fan of Star Wars, I do want to mention that J.J. Abrams has a little snippet on the Star Wars YouTube channel on YouTube, and in it he is promoting the whole Force for Change, which is the partnership between them and I think it's UNICEF, and you can donate a fairly large sum of money, and then if you do, then you and a friend will be able to actually be on Star Wars 7, like be a walk-on role or something. I mean, I don't know if you have any lines, but you'd be in the background, at least in the cantina, going, yay! I don't know what you'd be doing. But in it looks to be the new X-Wing. And I got to tell you, when I saw this thing, I was like, that's not an X-Wing. Where is that? What kind of... I mean, dude, I'm a total Star Wars nerd. So when I saw this thing, I was like, okay, I can maybe be okay with like expanded universe stuff, but I've never seen this ship except that is an X-wing nose, that's an X-wing cockpit, those are X-wing engines, and but it's much sleeker looking. I don't know. I'm kind of excited for it. So the last thing I do want to touch on here is that over at ZDNet, there was an article written by Jason O'Grady, and he talks about a forensic a forensic scientist and author, Jonathan Zdarsky, and he was at a talk at Hackers on Planet Earth, or HOPEX, and he was identifying certain access points or backdoors that iOS had. And he went into much more greater detail of what the names of these were and everything. But essentially, and I'll quote from the one of the slides, essentially, there are a number of undocumented high-value forensic services running on every iOS device, and suspicious design omission in iOS that makes collection easier. So essentially what he's saying is that whether you know this or not, Apple is gathering your information, and only Apple can see this. Now, digging deeper into the article itself, if you have your phone locked, it's harder. There is the encryption there, but even if it's on the lock screen and the light is on and you can like see your lock screen, at any given point, Apple can say, "Oh, we're gonna go into that person's iPhone and take all the information that we need." Now, according to Apple, this is all part of their agreement with the emergency services. So, in that if an iPhone is owned by a I guess, a fugitive or somebody wanted by the law or somebody that's in question, subpoena, things like that, at any given point, Apple can say, okay, you have the arrest warrant or you have the subpoena. Here, take this, and this is everything that we got on the guy, based off of everything that that individual is doing on the phone. Now, you can try to go in there into your own phone and try and find the files. You won't find it. And this is Apple's kind of their own personal backdoor. Now, again, Apple says they would only use that backdoor in times where they are required by law or if, other emergency situations, but they would never use it for nefarious purposes or, sell you ads based off of what you have stored in there. Or would they? I mean, that's the question. I mean, Google, we know Google does this. I mean, that's like Google's front page is basically, hi, sign in here. You get all this stuff for free, and here are all the ads related to you. Thank you very much. We know this. Facebook sucks at security, so we got to know that with Facebook as well too, based off of what you're searching for and what you've liked and everything, and consequently, like what else that they've recommended to you based off of what you've searched and liked and what your friends searched and liked for. Apple, on the other hand, I don't know. They kind of have this ethereal kind of mentality where like, oh, we've done you no harm. We have these beautiful devices, beautiful software, and for the most part, we've been very upfront with what we're doing with their data, which is, we're not selling it for profit or anything. But at the same time, they have this backdoor that we were never told about. It was never something at a WWDC event where they said, oh, by the way, from this point on, due to our agreement with law enforcement, we're going to have this backdoor. This backdoor will do this. This backdoor will do that. And should the user want to opt out of it, they will have to do this, or they can't do it at all. At least put it there. Put it in the forefront so users would know what they're getting themselves into. Now that the fact that this is coming out, and it's not even Apple saying it's coming out, it's this other forensic scientist and author saying this and showing the proof about it, it's like, okay, I get it. I understand. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to stop using your products, but explain to me exactly like what this is going to be used for, because again, Apple is kind of vague about it. So that's the question that this individual is putting on Apple, and I could probably tell you Apple isn't really going to be doing much about this. They're going to continue doing what they're doing as they feel their decisions of this is correct, and your device is, in a sense, at risk. If you have an iPhone, you are at risk of getting your information tracked. But again, it's not a bad thing. It's not like they're going in there and they don't. This guy also mentioned, I don't want you to think that this is something to look down upon. Just realize that it's happening from Apple as well, and we need Apple to take responsibility for this and say what they're doing this for. So it's all on Apple now, but don't stop using your iPhone. Continue using it. So if you do want to, I guess, go in there and I guess try to back this up, or rather, not back this up, but if you want to try to block this from happening, there are some methods that you can do, and if you want, I would just go to this ZDNet article, and there's a whole list of them that you can do. But one solution, obviously, is have a more complex password. And the other solution, I guess there's only two, sorry. The other solution is install the Apple Configurator application, which is free. It's available in the Mac Store. Set Enterprise Mobile Device Management, MDM, restrictions on your device, then delete all pairing records, aka pairing lockings. And he notes that while pair locking might stop commercial forensic tools, it won't help your device it won't help if your device is sent to Apple for acquisition. So basically, if another device that's plugged into it is trying to get all your info, it won't be able to, which is kind of similar to how, if you plug in a BlackBerry to a computer, BlackBerry, it's going to ask you for a ton of codes, and if you don't know the code, you're screwed out of luck. However, if the device is sent directly to Apple, then they would be able to get it that way. So, yeah, it's a shame, I know, but what you gonna do? Leave Apple? Maybe, but the other options do the exact same thing. So go off the grid, tinfoil hat, do whatever it is that you want to do. So that's pretty much it tonight. Let's go ahead and check the Q&A. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know here in the Q&A. Nothing tonight. Awesome. We will be back here on this show, but for the LTG show tomorrow, 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, with my colleague Sean Wilburn, who has a lot of stuff to talk about. I don't know. I'm sure we have a lot of other stuff to talk about. Before I do go, I do want to let you guys know you can always email us at comments@lazytechguys.com or phone in at 707-722-5299, or find us on all the social media, including Facebook, Twitter, Google+. And the only thing that's different in terms of searching for us is our YouTube channel, which is Lazy Tech TV. You guys have been a lot of fun to talk to. I hope you got some insight as to what happened today. And if there was anything I didn't cover and you want to hear my opinion on it, let me know, and I'll shoot you a message personally and say, yes, I think it was awesome, or no, I think it's terrible, or what are you talking about? I don't know this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You guys have a good one. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.